If you're a believer and you own a company, you're an entrepreneur, stop saying it's only business in order to give yourself If you're a believer and an entrepreneur, stop saying it's only business in order to give yourself permission to act differently for your employees than you would somebody in your church. What does that mean? Some of the most important things that we'll do in our lives are raising up people that work under us, right? If you're a business entrepreneur, you own companies, then those people, those employees or those contractors, whatever, they rely on you for a certain thing, right? And what happens sometimes is we'll begin to separate two personalities. We have a business personality, we have a ministry personality. What happens when you do that is this void in the middle becomes room for you to renegotiate how you need to act and respond to a situation because it's only business. It's only business. See, I've been in positions in my life to where I've owned multiple companies to where some people in my business were hurting my company. Some people in my company stole work from us. Some people in my company stole from me. Some people in my company reacted to a situation poorly that caused me now more conflict, more pain, more out of pocket, lost money. How did I respond to that? This isn't to say I'm better than you. This isn't to say that I'm not as good as you. This isn't to say anything. This isn't to say how you should respond. It's just an opportunity for me to share my experience with you. I'm a believer. I walk with God as best I can. Man, I pursue the Lord the best I know how to, even in my business. And one of the best discipleship methods that I've ever found is bringing alongside people to work with you and exposing yourself to them in a way that says, hey, whenever something goes bad, this is how I respond. You just busted a glass door. I'm not going to scream at you. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not even going to take it out of your check. I don't think you did it intentionally. It was an accident. We're going to address that. We're going to fix it. You know, one of the best discipleship methods is whenever you experience pain and you don't react poorly to that pain, because everybody on a job site that I've ever been around that isn't a follower, isn't a believer, loses their mind when something happens, loses their crap, right? When you, as an entrepreneur that loves the Lord, don't, that speaks volumes to those that are under you. That speaks volumes to your employees, to your peers. That speaks volumes to say, you see how you handled that? This dude just broke an $800 door. He didn't even freak out. It's not to give permission to your employees to make bad decisions. It's not to be given permission to your employees to not be paying attention. It's not any of that. It's to say that was an accident. It happens. Let's address it and fix it. End of the day, it's got to be fixed anyway. So why punish your employee for a mistake? Not everybody's in that position. I realize that. But I want to encourage you, if you say, well, it's only business, I'm taking that out of your paycheck, that's fair. It's not even immoral. That is a fair statement. What if, though, an employee busts a door? It's an $800 glass door. I find out about it. Man, are you all right, bro? Anybody get hurt? Everybody's good, right? All right, we need to find another door. I need you to stay a little bit later. You're going to have to go pick up a door from wherever. Bring it back. Let's get it in. Let's be careful, right? Let's be easy. Let's clean the glass up. Let's take our responsibilities. What do you think versus, what do you mean you busted the door, bro? It's an $800 door. Do you understand I can't get that door anymore? Do you understand that? Oh my God, you just put me in such a horrible position. I'm taking that out of your pay. You know that, right? I know you only make $500 a week, but you're going to have to pay me for that door, bro. Yeah, I know your wife's pregnant. Sorry. Tell her you broke a door. What do you think that does spiritually to two different people? Two different things, right? See, if you're a believer, you have to elevate the spiritual well-being of your people over the financial well-being of the business. That's hard, bro. That's so hard. I don't admire those that have to do it on a much larger scale than I have, because my scale's, kind of small to some. It's such a hard thing, because I need to care more about that person's salvation, that person's soul, than I do about an $800 door. Now, is this going to wreck their salvation? No, it's not. Is this going to turn them away from the Lord? No, it's not. But what it will do is expose them to a different thought process. Because yes, I messed up. Yes, I made a mistake. But you're not holding me accountable for that mistake in a way that's going to cost me more than what I already feel. The person didn't mean to, right? It was an accident, mistake. Crap happens. Now, if I blast them and I just squash them and I crush them and I press down on them, what's that going to do to them? emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So when you meet people with grace, whenever they make mistakes, I've had to cover mistakes that's cost me thousands of dollars. Why did I do that? Why did I cover somebody else's mistake when they should have covered it, when they should have paid for it? Why did I do that? Because I wanted to be an example, the best way I knew how, of how the Lord deals with us when we make those mistakes. See, God doesn't come down and crush us. And I'm not saying I got a God complex. I'm saying that I want to represent the Lord the best way I know how. The best way I know how to represent the Lord is to meet everybody with grace, even when they make mistakes that cause me pain. I want to meet you with grace and compassion and mercy when you do something that hurts me. I've not always done that. I've not always been able to do that. There's been situations where we've had to work together. We've had to get creative in order to figure things out because I wasn't in a position to always cover it. But I never met an accident, a mistake, with outright anger. I don't want somebody to respond to me that way. On my job site, I don't put up with people talking down to other people. On my job site, I don't put up with somebody screaming at you. I will walk off the job and my team will walk off that job as well. You're not going to speak to us in a manner that's not calm, clear, directed. You begin insulting my people, we're out. You begin insulting my crew, we're out. Don't care. I've walked off jobs. I've lost money because I've walked off jobs. But I care more about my people that God's given me stewardship over, that these people have entrusted me. I care more about them than I do making money. And you may say, well, I'm not in that kind of position. I understand, I wasn't either. I wasn't in that kind of position either. When COVID happened, I lost around $50,000 in about 4 hours. Events canceled. Boom, it's canceled, it's canceled, it's canceled. I had guys relying on me with families to figure out how to feed them. So instead of putting them on unemployment, they're making a couple $100 a week or whatever. At the time, we didn't know how to do all this stuff, right? I started another company that was allowable in order to keep it. Now, everybody didn't make as much money because the media company made great money, right? So we was able to pay people better. I started another business for my people in order to try and keep everybody surviving and living. I took some hits. I took some big financial hits. My family took some big financial hits for my people. Well, I can't do that. I can't respond that way. Maybe you can't today. Maybe you can start by something a little smaller. Somebody puts a nail in the wrong spot. Somebody puts a dent in the sheetrock. Somebody scratches a car. Somebody misspells a letter on a document. Maybe you meet them with compassion, grace, and mercy instead of condemnation, accusation, anger. How would the environment in your office, in your business, in your company change if you did that? I'm not asking for 180-degree change. I'm asking for 3 degrees, 2 degrees, 1 degree. Hey, you messed up on this, man. We need to get it took care of. No worries. We're going to take care of it. We're going to fix it. Let's just try and pay attention to it better next time. That's simple. It took me 3 seconds to correct an issue, reassure the person, and ask that it not be happening again in a way that was kind, polite, and easy. Well, you don't understand. This guy did, sure. This guy cost you $100,000. That's a whole different game. I don't know how I would handle that. I've never been in that situation. I have been cost $10,000 before, though. I've been cost $15,000 before. Responded the same way. Because that's the only way I know that I can honor God in my decisions and in my actions. It's the only way I know how to do that. If this has ministered to you today, man, if this has given you some encouragement, if this has given you a little bit of things to think on, to chew on, to pray into, I'd encourage you to send it to somebody else. Send it to a friend, send it to a brother, send it to somebody that you think could get ministered to by this. Because in business and in the gospel, we have to change the way that we respond to those things that hurt us, mess with us, or interact with us, right? We have to change the way we respond because we can't control anything in this world except the way that we respond to those that are around us and the things that happen to us. So be encouraged today, man. I want to pray that God will just move in your heart, move in your life. If you deal with anger, if you deal with anxiety, if you deal with rage, I pray that God would heal you from those things now in the name of Jesus, that those things would, the root of those things would be manifest to you so you can correct it, fix it, and that God would just take the rage, take the anger, take the stress, take the anxiety, take all those things away from you, that you could be made whole and peaceful, that you can deal in grace and mercy and compassion, even when it was never dealt with you. You can move differently. In Jesus' name. Man, you guys have a good night. All right.